about gratitude that's so good for us in our brains? Well, first of all, yesterday we talked about how the brain has a built in negative bias. Okay, what does that mean? That means we look for negativity first. Okay, so a lot of you that have problems, let's say you have a problem and you're always thinking about the bad part of something first. Okay, just know that it's wired into you because of the need for humans to evolve. Okay, so this is genetics. This is basic human being kind of thing. Okay, because you're wired to survive. Okay, you're wired to look at something and look for the critical part of something, and look for the negative part of something, and go, okay, you know, I need to survive that. I need to watch out for that. I need to be warned about that, and that's why it happens. Okay, so negativity bias is a thing. A lot of people tell me, well, I'm stuck in a negative loop. I always think of bad stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's the way you were made. Okay, so can you change the way you're made? Of course you can. Of course you can. So you're the highest form of intelligence on the planet. Okay, so all you have to do is affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization aimed at one thing, and it cannot not happen. Okay, what do you mean cannot not happen? Yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen. And the reason why it has to happen, okay, and I put emphasis on has, it has to happen. Okay, and the reason why it has to happen is because of your perception, okay, and your reality that becomes formed out of the things that you focus on. Okay, so your reality determines, or your focus determines your reality. Okay. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Alan Watts is with us. Wow, Alan Watts. I love that. Okay. So we talked about the amygdala, right? You have 6 seconds before the amygdala kicks in, and what happens? You start fearing. Okay. It starts going, what if this? What if this? What if this? What if this? And at that point, all the what ifs are rooted in fear. We talked about how gratitude works as a counter bias. Okay? Counter bias training. Good morning. Hey, Mary. Good morning, Mary. Yeah, you made it. Congratulations. Nice to have you. Thank you for joining us. So, gratitude works as a counter bias. Okay? Because you're training against your natural instinct. Okay, now we don't need the natural instincts that we used to need years and years and years and years ago. Okay, so the fight or flight thing, some people need it depending on where they live, right? If you live in Alaska and there's bears, or you live in California near a forest and there's bears, okay, then you need this, because you need to look out into the woods and go, hey, I think there's a bear over there. And then you're on alert, okay? But let's say you live in the city. Let's say you don't have these legitimate life or death situations that may pop up, right? So you don't really need to live in a negative counter bias, because finding out what's wrong with everything can be detrimental to your mental health. Okay, so that's, I mean, it's very simple. So gratitude rewires, we talked about this yesterday, your RAS, okay? What is that? Your reticular activating system in your brainstem. Okay, that filters out what you're not focused on. So what you're focused on becomes the focal point of everything. Okay, so let's say, for example, new car. Okay, so the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. New car is the idea from the conscious mind. It selects new car as the topic. That goes into your subconscious in repetition as a belief. Okay, when you've repeated the thought enough, or when you do affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization on new car, it now goes into your subconscious. Now what happens? Now your subconscious believes it. It's a belief in your subconscious. Now your subconscious starts going, hey, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that, maybe you can do that, maybe you can do that. And all the maybes are aimed at the car. The reticular activating system in your brainstem starts going, oh, new car. And pretty soon you start noticing new cars. Okay, you know those temporary license plates, that you start seeing those all over the place. Okay, you start looking at the car you want. Okay, Maybe it's a red BMW, blue BMW, black BMW. Doesn't matter what color. Okay, it just matters what you like. Now you start seeing them all over the place, and you go, "Wow, I never knew that there were so many of them." Right? Because you start seeing them. They were always there. Okay, but your reticular activating system filters out the other cars because you're focused on this one. Okay, or this kind of car, or this color of car, whatever it is that you're focused on. Some people are not picky about the make or model of the car. They just want a certain color. Wow, I want a blue car. Now you start seeing different shades of blue cars. Okay, because you're interested in blue. This happened to me like about maybe 6 years ago when I was working on a blue lease, and I thought of the color blue, and pretty soon I saw all different shades of blue. Okay, so anyway, that's the way that works. So now gratitude shifts your nervous system from survival to safety. Okay, survival, right? So that natural negative bias, it takes it and it moves it over here. It says, no, 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 come over here. You're safe. You're okay. You don't need to survive. You don't need all that negativity, right? And this is just by saying thank you inside. You just say thank you over and over again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, like that. Okay. So and it works. I mean, I've been doing this since 2007, and it really does transform your life. You hear people say that, you think it's just a spiritual thing. You think it's just like, oh, it's a religious thing, spiritual thing. I need to say thank you. No, this is a biochemical thing that happens in your brain. This can rewire your thinking. Okay. And what this does is it calms, okay, because of the serotonin release, because of the endorphin release, okay? It bonds because of the oxytocin release, okay? It's the bonding hormone. Now, your neurotransmitters release these hormones. And when this happens, right, you feel the effects of it. So now what happens? You become addicted to gratitude. Okay, and how is addiction formed? Well, besides the chemical side of it, it goes into your subconscious, and then it starts to repeat. Okay, and it starts to repeat because your subconscious learns in repetition, number one, then starts to repeat the action. Okay, so I always talk about the cookie habit. Okay, let me run it by you guys since we're probably being shown to different people today. Okay, so the cookie habit, right? You go to a party, you go, hey, can I have one of those cookies? You see the cookies in the tray, and they say, yeah, help yourself. And you go and you have a cookie. You go, wow, this is a good cookie. Okay. Pretty soon you kind of look over again, and you have another cookie. And then pretty soon you're asking the host, like, hey, where do you guys get these cookies? And they go, oh, we get them at Costco. And in a couple of days, you find yourself standing in Costco with a bag of cookies waiting to check out. Okay? So now what do? What do you have? You have a bag of cookies, but you also have a cookie habit because now you're in the habit. Okay? You gotta get in the habit of something, and then you gotta get out of the habit. Or let's say it another way, you have to practice some sort of limitation, okay? Moderation. Okay, because you don't want too many cookies, you'll gain weight, you'll get diabetes, and all of those things. Ashton, I feel like life coaches are a scam, no hate, but you got to get better as individuals. Okay, well, thank you for your opinion. That's your opinion is respected. Okay, life coaches. I've been doing this for 37 years. I've been a teacher for 37 years. So, yeah. And if you want to search me, you can see what I've done. Just search my full name. It's in my bio. Help yourself. So, gratitude shifts. Okay, it shifts your nervous system. Okay, because now instead of looking for things that are bad, negative bias, it starts to shift you over here to safety and go, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't have to look for the bad things. You don't have to look for the negative things. Okay, it's much like it's much like Ashton here. So Ashton is defaulting to his negative bias. Okay, and it's the it's instantaneous. Okay, you can't help it. You get that knee-jerk reaction. And this is where judgment comes from. And this is why in the Bible it says, judge not and ye shall not be judged, because you become judgmental through your subconscious. Okay? So that happens when you judge, okay? And then you judge again, and then you judge again. Now your subconscious goes, yeah, okay, let's judge. And now it starts to repeat that, okay? So it becomes a habit. Now you become judgmental, okay? Why is it bad to, I can give you a list of reasons why it's bad to be judgmental, okay? But there's a reason why it says, don't judge, basically, right? Judge not and ye shall not be judged. Because then you start getting judged. Who judges you? Yourself, okay? Then you wonder why you have low self-esteem. Then you wonder why you don't think very much of yourself. Then you wonder why you can't look at yourself in the mirror. I have a challenge right now with one of my executive clients to get her to look in the mirror and face herself. Okay. So this comes when you have let's say a string of bad things happen, or let's say you haven't been along enough in your personal development journey to, really feel good about the good things that you've done and ignore and forgive. The key word is forgive. Forgive the things that you've done. It's very difficult to look at yourself in the mirror. It's very difficult to write down 100 positive I ams. Okay, I normally do this with my intakes. I have them write down 100 positive I ams. Okay, I am grateful. That could be one, right? We're talking about gratitude today. I am kind. I am generous. Okay, I am loyal, whatever it is. Okay, and write down 100 things. It's very difficult for people to get through that. Okay, in the beginning. But as they start to open up, and the key is open, right? As they start to open. So the opening thing, right, is the absence of, we can say it another way. We can say when they start to feel the absence of anxiety, the absence of irritation, the absence of, right, negativity. All the negative emotions are rooted in fear. So the absence of fear. Okay, now you notice the positive because that's what's left. Okay, so you start to understand that, oh, okay, now I can proceed with life because, wow, I feel better about myself, right? And this is what happens through prayer. When you pray, you start to feel better. Why is that? Well, because you ask for forgiveness, because you pray for wisdom, because you pray for knowledge, because you pray for God's blessing. Okay, I'm not here to say what to believe or whatever, but I'm just giving you an example for those of you that pray. Okay, now meditation it works almost the same way, except in meditation, you are paying attention, you are listening. Okay, you are an electromagnet. Okay, so you are a transmitter and a receiver. You have the ability to speak to God, and you have the ability to listen to God. Okay, praying is speaking to God. Praying, putting forth intention, okay, all of these things. Wishing, you can call it a wish if you want to. You can wish. Human beings can wish, and their wishes come true. Okay, what's the key? The key is you have to keep wishing over and over and over. Okay? And it will become a habit in the subconscious. Then it will become the topic. Then the superconscious, which is God, will look at the subconscious and go, okay, we'll work off of this. Okay, but you have to have whatever belief you have in your subconscious. You have to have positive beliefs in there for God to work positive in your life. And if you have negativity in there or negative things in there, negative beliefs, then God will work off of that. Okay? And this is why Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're correct. You're right. Okay? Either way. Because God will either, and a lot of people go, well, God will do negative things? God amplifies negativity. God lives in here. The kingdom is within. Okay, Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. And this is why people, get stuck in negativity, because they go in circles in their subconscious. God does not break them out of their negativity. They have to do it. And this is why we have victim mentality, right? Because victim mentality suggests that we just observe the situation, we complain about it, right? We cry about it, we whine about it, we commiserate about it, okay? But it keeps happening. Why does it keep happening? Well, because this negativity in your subconscious is what God has to work off of. It's the topic, okay? It's the topic. So when you change your core beliefs, when you change the beliefs in your subconscious, now it's positive. Now God looks at that and goes, okay, I'll amplify that. God does not judge. God doesn't judge. God is love. So God will look at a negative set of beliefs and go, okay, that's what you want? Okay. You see? I know you've probably been taught things to the contrary. Okay. But check it out. Whatever you believe starts to manifest in your world. Life happens for you like this. Okay. Life doesn't happen to you like this. Okay. It happens through you. Okay. It comes through the superconscious to work off of your subconscious. And that's what opens the doors and brings the right people. And, we call that a coincidence. Okay. So what else does gratitude do? It creates long-term neural strengthening. So it creates new neural pathways in the brain. Because when you're saying thank you for something, when you say thank you for everything, when you start getting in the habit of saying thank you, now your pathways are not negative, right? It changes. And I'm not suggesting that everyone has a whole bunch of negative pathways. I'm not saying that. I'm saying whatever the negatives are, it starts to diminish and it starts to change it. Because if you look at a timeline, we've been taught this, it doesn't exist this way. It's an illusion. Okay, time is an illusion. But we've been taught that a timeline looks like that, like a linear line. Okay, that's not what a timeline is. That's so that you look at it and you go, oh, 1900, 1920, 1930, 40, 50. So you have a line. And they teach it to you like a progression. It's not a progression. You're living one long now. Okay, you can make something happen now. And this is why when you write your affirmations, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then write what it is your target is. Okay, when that goes into your subconscious starts giving you confirmation, number one. Number two, variations on how you can achieve it. The superconscious gives you intuitive thought on it. So you will get intuitive thought on whatever the topic is, whatever the subject matter is in the subconscious. Okay, so these things that are in your subconscious, whether they're negative or positive, okay, have neural pathways. The negativity has neural pathways, and the positivity has neural pathways. The brain gets rewired when you start practicing the new way, the new thing, the new avenue, okay? And when that starts to happen, you form new neural pathways. And the brain goes, okay, we're doing that now. And this is why people work on puzzles, especially as they get older. They do crossword puzzles. They do puzzles. They do painting, things that stimulate creativity in the brain because they're trying to form new neural pathways. Okay, so your brain is like plastic. Your brain is adaptable. Your brain can be molded, okay, into something better. People think that, oh, I'm getting older and everything's going downhill. No, it's not. Not at all. If anything, you have more selective focus. What's selective focus? You can select something and focus on it more intently. Okay, why is that? Because you can block out the noise. It's easier to block out the noise when you're older. Okay, when you're young, you're more receptive. This is biology. This is how you are made. Okay, when you are young, you're a sponge. You're taking in everything. As you get older, you have the ability to shut off more noise. And you can go, okay, I don't want to do that. And you shut it out. You can ignore it. So now your neural pathways in the positive, working something positive, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Working something positive will strengthen. And now what happens? The subconscious repeats it. It starts repeating it. So in the beginning, maybe you're not on a gratitude program. And when I say that, I mean just having a gratitude practice that you do. Okay, so my gratitude practice, one of my favorite ones, is to get in my car and I turn off the stereo and I drive down the street and I look at different things and I say thank you. And I do this almost every time I'm by myself in the car. I'm driving down the street, I say thank you for the dogs, thank you for the people, thank you for the building, thank you for the trees, thank you for the park, thank you for the fire hydrant. Those things. Because I'm grateful for the buildings. If they weren't there, right? The fire hydrant, if that wasn't there, the dogs, if they weren't there, you see, you can get a lot of enjoyment from looking at a dog, you know. You can get a lot of enjoyment from looking at people. Some people are people. You know, I happen to really love people. I look at people, I'm like, yeah. I go in the mall, I watch people, right? Sometimes I watch from, you know, a more, let's say, clinical point of view. I watch reactions, I watch body language, I watch groups of reactions. Sometimes I observe that way, but sometimes I just look and say, wow, thank you for these people. We're all here for a reason. Okay, you need to find your reason. All you need to find out is what it is and why. That's it. The how is God's job. Okay, so as you start recalibrating your nervous system, okay, which is what this is, it's a recalibration. As you start recalibrating your nervous system, it starts to strengthen. And pretty soon, gratitude is a regular thing. You're always saying thank you. Guess what that does? That puts you in a better mood. It combats all the negativity. Okay, so gratitude in itself can turn around a lot of negativity. Because where you used to think negative about something, now you think positive about something. So write these things down. Take notes. Okay, I'm an executive coach. I teach executives. So my clients are like CEOs, attorneys, doctors, people like that. People in charge of other people. Okay, one of these one of my former clients was an attorney or is an attorney. She works for the largest landowner in the state of Hawaii. She's at the very top of the real estate market, the very top. And she told me, boy, I wish I met you in my 20s. Okay. Because they don't get this kind of insights. But that's where I come in. That's why they hire me. Okay. Guess what happened after that? Her whole life started to turn around. Why is that? Well, because you start to rewire your brain. If you only use your brain in one direction for one thing, let's say it's career, you get really, really good at the career, right? The people that I service, they are tops in their field. They are brilliant people. They've been through the books, they've been through the how to, right? They know how, okay? And they go, up that figurative ladder. There is no ladder. Yesterday, one of my business clients tells me, when he goes, you start to find out there's nothing behind the curtain. And I'm like, yeah, the other thing is there is no curtain. And he laughed. He was texting me. So my clients my clients have tech support, email support. So every once in a while they get an idea, they text me. And I build off of that idea to expand my teaching. I expand my teaching within them so that they understand a little bit more or a little bit easier the other side of life. Because anybody can go to a college, anybody can get educated, okay? Anybody can get conditioned. But there's God-made and there's man-made. And it's important that you know the difference. Now, whoever you believe is the superconscious, okay, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But whatever you think that is, higher self, infinite intelligence, Jesus Christ, God, whatever you think that is, I'm here to tell you that it's real. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm. You are the smaller unit of energy from the larger unit of energy. Everything in the universe is energy. When you understand quantum physics, when you understand electricity, it's very easy to understand. These are not difficult principles. It's only difficult to understand on the onset when you look at labels and terms and, you have to look at a glossary and go, okay, what does this mean, right? But it's very, very simple. So my job as a teacher is to break it down, to break this thing down to the least common denominator, if you will. Okay. And how does this fit into the big picture? Okay. But when you look at it like, okay, we live in this one long now. And you have this one long now until you don't. But there's nothing to be afraid of in the way that, oh, this one now is going to expire one day. What do I do? Where am I going? Am I going to burn in eternal fire? If you're believing those things, just know that hell is full. Okay? Because the people who are telling you these things versus the people who are not abiding by these things, these guys are outnumbered. In that case, hell would be full. Okay, so it's not about that. Good morning, Denise. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Beth. So when you start to understand quantum mechanics, it starts to get a little easier. You go, oh, okay, well, how does the new car get in the driveway? Well, there's this thing called infinite possibilities. And from these infinite possibilities, you select one. And the trick is to form a center point, is what I call it. A center point. And don't budge. Stick to that center point. The problem with people, okay, in general, okay, and this is a generalization, they'll stick with something for a little while, and then they'll go, this doesn't work. And then they change their mind. God works like a GPS. When you change your mind, God is like the GPS. God goes, whoa, the circle starts. The circle starts, the thinking, right? So God goes, whoa, okay, different direction. Okay, wait. And then God lays out a path that way, the way that you choose to go. Then you change your mind over here, halfway. Okay, now you want to go this way. God goes, whoa, hang on. He starts spinning in a circle. Then he lays out the path that way. But when he lays out the path, the right people come into play. The doors begin to open. You get the right emails. The right situations pop up. The right things come into play. Opportunities, people, everything. Because as you take the steps, the doors begin to open. That's the divine connection within every human being, because like Jesus said, the kingdom is within. Your solutions are in here, they're not out here. But when you work it from in here, everything shows up out here. And this is why Jesus said, seek first the kingdom, and all else will be added unto you. This is all right brain activity. Because Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, not the left. You cast your net to the right, right? That's what he told his apostles. And when they tried to pull in the fish, they couldn't. Too many fish. Abundance. Abundance lives in the right side. What lives on the left side? Ego. What do you have to surrender? Ego. The journey of Moses is the migration from the left to the right. You won't learn this in Sunday school. But the good news is that you're a smaller expression of the bigger picture. When you understand that, when you work from that, okay, when you work from those principles, you start to see how easy things come. Why? Because you travel down the path of least resistance. What are we taught? We're taught completely opposite. Oh, you have to work hard. You have to push. You have to work harder, push harder, do more, right? Then what happens? Well, over here on this little section of your imaginary timeline, you can push hard, you can go hard. You can go as hard as you physically can. You can have 2, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, maybe one really excruciating job to work real hard. Corporate ladder, all of that. And then what happens? Over here in the second half, you're repairing the damage that you caused over here in the first half. Why? Because of the law of cause and effect. Over here you went hard. Over here, you have to recover. And so many people take everything they've earned here, and now over here they're giving it to the HMO. Why? Oh, because now I have, problems with my feet. Now I have joint problems. Now I got injured on the job. I was working hard. See, if you know the kingdom is within, I know so many religious people, okay? Church every Sunday, it's a ritual, okay? It's a ritual for them. But they have no idea about the kingdom because I see their results, okay? The universal law of correspondence tells us that whatever's going on in here is reflected out here, okay? So if it's not here, it's not here. Okay? It's very easy to see. You can't hide things from people. So, what are your conditions out here? In your home, in your car, at work, on your desk? It's a reflection of what's in here. When you're young, what do our parents tell us? Like, oh, be good when you're in public. You're a reflection on your parents, right? You've heard that one. Okay, that's not true. It's not true at all. You are a reflection of your parents because of heredity. You're a reflection of your mom and of your dad. And when you see things in your mom, in your dad that you can't stand, it's because of the things in you that you can't stand in you. When you see things in others that you just can't stand, it's because life is a mirror and you can't stand them in here. Now, when you see them out here, it becomes a trigger. Now you can't stand that, or him, or her, or whatever it is. Life is a mirror. When you learn how to work in the mirror, all these issues go away. The path of least resistance is formed because it comes together naturally. It's not something you force. It's not something you go, okay, we're going this way and we're going hard. No. When you hit the wall, hit the wall, hit the wall, hit the wall. This is God saying you don't belong over here. Okay? Hitting the wall like this. Okay? Your job is to pivot and go here. Oh, this is easy. Oh, this is okay. But what happens when you go easy? You go, something's wrong. This isn't hard. I'm not doing the right thing. It's not hard. I'm not going to be successful because this is the easy way. You know, my parents always told me, oh, you just want the easy way out. I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense to hit your head against the wall all the time. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for you to be the salmon and swim upstream all the time. It makes no sense. When you start hitting the wall over and over and over and over, when you get sore enough, figuratively, you're going to change the direction and go where the least resistance is. That's your guidance system. That's your guidance in here going, hey, dude or girl, go over here. And then you go here, easy. And then what do? You go, wow, it's so easy this way. I never thought it would be this easy. And now your subconscious learns the path of least resistance. And what does it do? It repeats. And now everything is coming easy. Sometimes you have to wait. But you manifest anything, everything, and anything either way. You're either going to manifest hard or easy. You know those people that just have an easy life? You see, well, you think they have an easy life. They have their problems, but things come easy, right? They get all the good jobs. I know so many people like that. They're lucky. We think they're lucky. They get all the good jobs. They get all the good stuff. It just comes easy, right? Sometimes they lose it easy, right? So they cycle through a lot. Let me tell you, things come very easy in my life. They didn't before, not before 2007, but ever since I unlocked that door. It was a door in here. It was in the kingdom. The kingdom is within. That's the title of my new book. It'll be out soon. It'll be out next year. Jesus Christ told us that the kingdom is within, so you don't go without. So you don't go out here. You can attract everything from in here. Thoughts become things. Mike Dooley said that. I trained with Mike Dooley. Thoughts become things. On my Facebook coaching page, There's a picture of Mike Dooley and I when I was young. Okay. But the good news is that if you're hitting the wall, if you're that salmon going upstream all the time, you know, jump like this, and you're really not going anywhere because the river pushes you back, then you jump again, pushes you back, jump again. When you get tired of jumping, you need to change direction. I'm not talking about a radical shift either. I'm talking about little adjustments, pivoting. But when you express gratitude, when you recalibrate your nervous system, okay, because gratitude will do it, these things ease up. The fight goes away. You stop fighting for things. You stop pushing, pushing, pushing. And you go with the path of least resistance because you were born for abundance. Abundance is your birthright. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to fall in your lap. That means that you need to find, through your purpose, you need to find what that is, first of all, your purpose. Okay? Once you find your purpose, when you start working your purpose, things come automatically. Automatic. I did not believe it until I chose it in 2007, and I chose it. And it started with the new car. I was driving down the highway. We have a viaduct here. And I was driving down the viaduct, and there's a whole row of new car dealerships. And I picked the most expensive one I saw. And I said, all right, if this is real, if God is real, let's test this. All I can say now in 2025 is that from 2007 to 2025, I have only had new car smell. No bankruptcies, no cars getting repossessed, none of that. Why is that? Because when you form the center point, when you make the decision, do you think God's just going to give you something and say, okay, here, you're on your own, good luck? No, not at all. God will allow you this and then bring things to support this. That's when you buy a house, when you buy a house, you sign, right? You sign for it, okay? You sign the contract. Then money comes. It's a 30-year mortgage, but you trust that you're going to be working for 30 years. Now, a lot can happen. You can get disabled in 2 years, right? But you don't think that, do you? You don't think, 2 years from now I'm going to be disabled. You don't think that. You plan in your mind, you envision, okay? Visualize. You visualize, okay, 30 years. I can't wait till I pay it off. I'm thinking about 30 years down the road, I'm going to pay this off. It's going to be my house. Okay. 58, Mary, you need to find your purpose. You need to find your purpose, and your life will be easier, much easier. Write to me. You can DM me, and I'll give you the process. It's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. But you look at the long term, and you say, yeah, 30 years, I'm paid off. It's going to be all mine. So now your vision is 30 years from now, when you finally pay it off. Right? And then 1 month before you pay it off, you've gone down the road 29 and 3/4 years or whatever it is, right? And then you go, wow, pretty soon, 3 more months and it's mine. Paid it off. Anything can happen in those 30 years. Okay? Sometimes you lose the job that you have or that you had when you signed, and then you get another one. So the support comes when you commit, when you form the center point, because there is only one long now. When you stick to that center point, your timeline, which is not like this, okay, that's only in encyclopedias, that's only to give you a visual. Your timeline works like this, okay? Your timeline is formed around you like this. Okay, you know when you were little and your parents said, do you think the world revolves around you? You ever had that? You think the world revolves around you? Actually, it does. Your world revolves around you. But you've been taught something else. You've been indoctrinated into a system for a reason, okay? Don't hate on the system. Don't hate the system. The system is there for organization. We need a calendar. We need a clock. We can't just all sit around. We need organization. We need order. We need laws. We need systems. But within the system, you have the ability to attract anything for yourself. And I'm not here to sell you anything. There's no sales pitch at the end of this. So take notes. Okay. There's no sales pitch. I have my clients. My clients are a specialty. But if you've been conditioned to believe certain things, those beliefs are in your subconscious and they're working against you. Why? Well, because you're believing something that isn't necessarily 100%. Okay? Jordan Maxwell said it another way. He said, nothing in the world works the way you think it does. And it doesn't. Because you're presented with things in a certain way to make you think a certain way. It's your job to break the hypnosis. It's your job to go, oh, well, maybe the timeline doesn't go like this. Maybe it does go like this. Oh, everything is energy. Well, maybe everything's connected. So you have the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. The conscious mind makes the decision. The subconscious holds the program, forms the program, repeats the program. The superconscious, or God, takes a look at that program and says, oh, that's what we're doing? Okay. We'll give you more of that. So if this is negative in the subconscious, guess what? Keeps coming. This doesn't mean you have to be 80% positive. Okay, here, if you have a timeline, let's look at your imaginary time. Let's look at a line. Just call it a line, right? It's not a timeline. Let's say this is the 50th percentile. Let's say this is positive. Let's say this is negative. All you have to do is push this across the line 1%. 1. You can be 49% negative if you want to. But because you push this over the line to 51%, now the majority of your life is positive. Was that difficult? No. This is a decision. Happiness is a decision. Am I happy all day long? The majority of the day, yeah. And a lot of the times when I talk about stuff or gripe about stuff or whatever, it's temporary. And every time I do it in here, I apologize. Do I swear? Yeah, I swear. Am I human? Yeah, I'm human. Here, guilty, human. But when you plug my name into a browser or an AI or whatever, you get all this stuff, and you go, wow, looks like he's a magician. No, I'm not. I'm a human being. You've been taught things backwards. For example, you should be really good at this one thing. One thing. Jack of all trades, master of none. Go and look up the real idiom. The real one. So you get the full idiom and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's much better to be a jack of all trades. That's what Benjamin Franklin was. That's what most of the founding fathers were. They weren't just one thing. Okay? But you were taught to be like this. You were taught to walk the straight and narrow, right? It's in your Bibles, right? Okay, straight in the road, right? The road to heaven. Right, like this, right? Human beings are naturally inclined to do this, not this. This is control. This is conditioning. This is, okay, you're going to do this one occupation. You're going to be really, 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 really good at it. And you're going to do this till you're 75 years old, 80 years old, whatever. Then we're going to give you a thank you party. You're going to take a couple of cruises, and then you'll be too old, and then you'll just die. And we're going to have you call this a life. You don't have to do this for 75 years. You can do this for 75 years. My companies were designed so that I can do a variety of things. It's a family of service companies, but they're service companies. They serve people. You can design your life. Okay, how do you design your life? Right here. Here. So this is the current one. Okay? Not too much here. Okay. This is the one that I just got through. This one. And this looks crazy, right? I'm like, wow, that's crazy, uncle. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy. I have about 12 of those in storage. But that's what you need to do to keep your subconscious in alignment with your goals. Your conscious, subconscious, and superconscious have to be in alignment. They have to work together in synergy, because if they don't, then you're going to go over here, then you're going to go over here, then you're going to go here. So what do you do when you put a rudder on the boat? It goes here, or it goes here, or it goes here, wherever you choose, but it goes there. You make the choice, you form the center point. Now your timeline starts to correspond to you to learn this. He's talking about conditioning, the curtain, oh, there's magic. There's this, you represents BS. And I'm like, no, that's not the way you sell things. You sell by inspiring people. You don't sell by lying to them. You don't sell. People are smart. People are not stupid. You know why you have to pause and think it through? Whenever you don't have a salesperson that inspires you to buy. It's because they're mixing BS with the truth. Because you have a built-in BS meter. So they have to tell a little bit of the truth and mix it in with a little bit of the BS for you to buy it. And then you go, oh, well, because you got to think. Because you're hearing part truth and part BS. And you're going, oh, I got to think about this. If it were just the truth, no brainer. Then you can make a decision. This guy that, I used to work at a company, and this guy was he was the senior salesperson, sales manager. He wrote a book called Persuade. And when I saw the book, I saw the title, and I'm like, he doesn't get it. That's the ego talking. That's the left brain talking. Okay, that's logic, the ego, over here in the left. And the funniest part is now he's a pastor in a church and he has no idea. He has no idea of the big picture. Inspiration comes from the right side. Jesus Christ sits at the right hand of the Father for a reason. But he's persuading. Persuading means, okay, you think this way. I'm going to tug and pull and push and whatever I have to do to get you over here to agree with me. Inspiration is, I'm just going to tell you about this. And this is so cool that only a dummy would go, nah, that's not for me. Because now I'm going to inspire you. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to persuade you. If you have to persuade someone, if you have to influence someone, you're operating from ego, from the left side. So, what's the key insight? What's the wrap up for gratitude? Gratitude doesn't work because positive thinking is nice or the nice thing to do or the right thing to do or the moral thing to do. I'm not here preaching morals, okay? This is not church. This is not Sunday school. It really is not Sunday school, okay? They won't teach you this in Sunday school. Because you can take this technology, what I teach, and you can apply it to bad stuff. And you can be really good at bad stuff. Or you could take this and you can apply it to good stuff and you could be really good at good stuff. Okay? So it depends on you. It's like electricity. You can use it to cook your dinner or you can use it in an electric chair for that purpose. Okay? We don't want to say certain words, but yeah, like that. You're not forcing positivity when you apply gratitude, when you practice gratitude. Okay? You're not forcing it. You're not persuading it. You're creating it. You're creating these conditions that we've been talking about for the last hour. And this is why I say thank you every day, throughout the day, here and there, whenever. I've been doing this since 2007. Did good things happen to me before 2007? Yeah, a lot. But now, since 2007, everything's been amplified. It's like good on steroids. So not only did the trajectory of good continue, everything got easy. Everything is more manageable. There's a reason why Jesus told his apostles to cast your net to the right. So you surrender the ego on the left. So you drop the ego on the left. That doesn't mean you drop your logic. That doesn't mean you abandon logic. That means you can surrender the ego. And then everything opens up on the right. Okay, the journey of Moses, from the left to the right, in here, in the kingdom. When you live from the kingdom, when you live in the kingdom, everything out here follows. Seek first the kingdom and all else will be added unto you. Well, let's say it another way. When you seek first the kingdom and you find the kingdom and you find the blessings within the kingdom, everything pours out from the kingdom into the physical world just for you, for your life path, for you and your family, for whoever is closest to you, because you can share, okay? Share. And it starts to unfold like this. Because you are the miracle. Go into your bathroom, turn on the light, look in the mirror, and see your miracle. And understand it's a miracle. And understand that you can have, do, or be anything if you start in the kingdom. All right, and Jay is saying, see you tomorrow. So we shall see you tomorrow. There's no sales pitch. I have nothing to sell you. So yeah. Anyway, so tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. again. Okay, bring your notepads, take notes. Okay, we're gonna do it again tomorrow. We are wrapping up our gratitude segment tomorrow. It's our 7 days of gratitude for